Good morning. Today is Sunday, October 25th, 2020, and I'm Margaret Drugovich, the president of Hartwick College. Well, after a week of beautiful days, the weather has turned more seasonably cool today, but it's still somewhat sunny. Get outside and enjoy it. I have a number of important updates this morning. I'm going to start with an update on COVID-19 impacts on our Hartwick community. After almost 3 weeks of no new cases, within the last week we have seen a surprising rise in new infections. While the number is still small, we have only 9 active cases. This is a true uptick in infections for our campus. So 9 of our total now 30 cases are all new infections that have been diagnosed over the last week. Why now? Well, we don't have complete information on contact tracing. However, what we do know is that these cases are linked to individual behaviors. So we know, for example, that several infections appear to be linked to visits to a bar in Oneonta. A couple of other cases are linked to students casually socializing but not wearing their masks in residential rooms where the masks are required. Some cases seem to be associated with close personal contact between students and others who are infected. At this time, and this is important, we have no evidence of classroom transmission. Another thing that we do know is that in addition to the clusters of infections that are now being tracked carefully in the downstate area, we have seen over the last week increases in upstate cases. So there have been increases, for example, in Broome County, and that's where Binghamton is located, in Chemung County, and that would include Horseheads and Elmira, and Steuben County, which would include Painted Post and Corning. Now, all of these areas are west of Otsego County, where we're located. But it's important to note that all of these areas are now under the color code of yellow, with the associated mandated precautionary measures. Or in the case of Chemung County, that happens to be in the orange warning zone, with additional restrictions on gatherings and businesses. Now again, these areas are west of Oneonta and Otsego County, but I know that some of our students might want to travel there. And so what I'd ask you to do is inform yourself. You can get updated information on the state's tracking and infection management efforts by going online. All you have to do is search for these words, New York State Cuomo Cluster Metrics, and you will come up with the latest information on those cluster designations. What else do we know? Well, we also know that the number of states on the New York travel restriction list has increased and is now up to 43. Even travel, non-essential travel, between New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania is now discouraged. Hartwick's strategic response team is considering what we're learning about these developments and what will be necessary to continue to keep infections down for the remainder of the term. So this week we took 2 steps that we hope will help to protect the health of our community. First, we've rolled back permission for masked visits between rooms within the same residence hall. So even if your friend has a mask on, if this person is not your roommate, they cannot be in your room. Also, because of the continued increases in COVID-19 cases in New York and around the country, we are now asking all students to refrain from traveling outside of Oneonta. On Friday, VP McGrath sent all of our students a message that, effective immediately, any student, and that's if you're residential, you're a commuter, if you're an authorized off-campus student, if you choose to leave the area, you're going to need to complete a travel declaration form prior to traveling. and she embedded that form in the email. The information you provide us about where you're headed will help us to proactively monitor potential increased exposure for COVID-19. Please note this. If you leave the area and travel to a red or orange cluster zone, as defined not by Hartwick but by the state, you will not be allowed to return to campus this fall. You can get up-to-date information on cluster zones at forward.newyork.gov. To our students and our staff, the easiest thing to do is to stay safely on campus for the next 27 days until the end of the fall term, and please wear your mask. You know, this week I spoke with several students on campus and asked if there was anything else the college could do to help our students understand how best to protect themselves and others from COVID-19. What these students told me is that they and their friends are simply tired of COVID, fatigued with the whole business. I get it. I also know that when you feel that way, you can talk yourself into thinking that it's best to just let fate take its course. Letting fate take its course is not the best choice. We have to remember that this is a virus and that we have control. What is the best choice is to protect yourself. It's best to protect your friends. It's best to protect your family. It's best to protect the faculty and the other employees at Hartwick who are trying our best to protect you. Please, wear your mask. Stay 6 feet apart. Get your COVID test. And don't leave our campus unless it's absolutely necessary to do so. You know what to do, and I know you can do it. And to all the many of you who have done and continue to do what must be done, you rock. Congratulations to you for protecting yourself and your friends. This past Thursday and Friday, the Hartwick College Board met, virtually of course, and took some important action to support the college and our students. You know, we have an awesome board. These are incredibly successful and busy people, and yet I have never before worked with a board where members are so uniformly clear about their responsibilities, invest so much in learning what they must so that they are ready to act, and are so determined to assure the college's continued success. Whether they graduated from Hartwick or not, their commitment to Hartwick runs deep and true. Over their 2 days of meetings, they learned about COVID at Hartwick, as well as about our progress on rolling out the FlightPath for our students. And they made some important decisions. The board was impressed with firsthand reports of our FlightPath progress and the enthusiasm that they saw for how the program is enhancing student experience and preparation. Because of the progress they see, they voted to approve the immediate commencement of a 5-year fundraising campaign to support FlightPath. We are all eager to move forward with this campaign. Raising support for something so important to the success of Hartwick students is something that inspires me, and I believe will inspire Hartwick's many supporters. The board also approved the submission of an application to the New York State Education Department to establish a Master of Science in Nursing Education program and a Certificate of Advanced Study in Nursing Education. These graduate programs in nursing are going to be great for Hartwick nursing undergraduates as well as for BSN and master's graduates of other nursing programs. With the board's approval, we can now submit an application to NYSED for their review, and we hope for and anticipate their approval. I will pass on that good news when the approval is received. The board also approved a revised budget for FY21 that takes into account the negative impacts of COVID-19 on the college. This restatement is a necessary step to assure that we operate under a balanced budget even under these very difficult and very costly circumstances. The board continues its active engagement in our planning, our fundraising, and endowment management. I am grateful to them for their full embrace of their fiduciary responsibilities. Their partnership and leadership is invaluable, not just to me, but to every Hartwick student, employee, parent, and graduate. Thank you to each of our board members for investing your time and your talent here. I have 3 shout-outs to wrap up today's video. First, on behalf of the board, I want to make a shout-out to everyone on our campus for what you have done to deliver this fall's education and move the FlightPath forward, even while you are doing what you can to manage COVID-19. The board is very impressed with our progress and success to date, and I pass their thanks and congratulations on to you. Let's continue to make them proud. My second shout out is for the outstanding work of Dr. Carly Ficano, who led the development of and assured the launch of the FlightPath Pathway Planner advising tool. Pathway Planner is an amazing tool to help our students plan their semester schedule, collaborate with their advisor, and track progress toward their graduation. It's awesome. Students, you received a note about this. Parents, you can find out more by going to hartwick.edu and typing Pathway Planner into the search bar. Thank you for leading, Carly. My last shout out is to our Perello Wellness Center team. COVID has been a constant source of disappointment and frustration to our students. Okay, to all of us. Even so, Director Amy Gardner and her colleagues Sandy Rorick and Heidi Hofbauer-Buzzy continue to keep student health and safety as their top priority. Your professionalism, your care, and your compassion are all indispensable medicine in the treatment of COVID-19. On behalf of all of us, I thank you and your colleagues in the Perella Wellness Center. You know, I shared with the board that there have been moments of grace throughout the fall. For me, sometimes it has come in a grateful email from a student, a supportive call from an alumnus or a parent, or an appreciative conversation with an employee. As you can guess from my previous videos, the natural beauty of this fall has brought me many moments of grace. And so this morning, with the help of my colleague Nick George, Hartwick's director of digital communications, I share a little of this grace with you by closing with fall photos of Hartwick and Oneonta taken by Lisa Corbett, David Lubell, and me, set to the music of Antonio Vivaldi's Allegro from the Four Seasons. The music is performed by John Harrison on violin, Robert Turiziani, conductor, and the Wichita State University Chamber Players. Be safe. Please wear your mask. Have a great Sunday.